What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is January 5th, 2022. Welcome to the first episode of the new year on 10 Count Wrestling, the first AEW Dynamite of the new year on a new network, TBS. Tamara, it's been a while. How are you?
Has been a while. I'm doing very well. It was just the holidays, so I had a long break from work, so I'm doing extra well. And Dynamite was on
Oh.
today, so I'm doing super extra well. How are you, Kaden?
Well, considering since the last time I have been on the show, I've gone to two AEW tapings. I'm doing pretty swell.
Ah, that's true. I didn't even watch them live because I was so busy.
Yeah, I was at Winners Coming, I was at New Year's Smash, and then I could make my way up to Raleigh this weekend for Battle of the Belts, but I'm going to be working for NWA this weekend, doing some production assistant work with NWA up in Jacksonville.
Round of applause.
Yeah, doing my first ever gig. But let's get into the first ever episode on TBS, and we're going to start with the main event. We're not going to start with the opening match. Lucha Brothers taking on the Jurassic Express for the AEW Tag Team Championships. We got two teams that had that really good match right before Full Gear. I believe it was in Minneapolis. When they had that first match. This was another one. They did that 10-man last week that led into this. Really fun match to end the show. My Wi-Fi cut out a little bit. It'll probably be cutting out throughout this episode, just an FYI to anybody listening or watching. But my Wi-Fi cut out, so I missed probably 5 to 10 minutes of this match. But what I saw was really good. We had a really good top of the shoulders Canadian Destroyer spot from Jungle Boy. Another good top rope Canadian Destroyer spot. Got two Made in Japans. One was actually hit. One was meant for a roll up. But Made in Japan is one of my favorite finishes, by the way. Love a Made in Japan. Really
Yeah.
good spot there. And of course, we got to talk about the finish. I'm shaken up by it, but Luchasaurus went to put Ray Phoenix through the table with a choke slam from the apron to the outside onto a table.
Yeah.
Ray Phoenix, his arm fully bent backwards. And immediately he called over Doc Samson, anybody who was ringside. And from there, they went into a finish with a roll up. And Jungle Boy pinned pinned Penta El Zero Miedo in the middle of the ring with a schoolboy, not a schoolboy roll up, but a roll up finish. And we have new tag team champions. Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus getting their first tag team championships, getting their first taste of gold here in All Elite Wrestling. Very well deserved, but the question has to be asked, was this the original finish?
Well, I think it was the original finish. I don't. One, I think they wanted to do a title change for this episode of Dynamite since it's kind of a day one, and then also I don't think that they would have, or maybe they would have them win because Ray broke his arm, but I don't think people in the back even realized that he broke his arm because I mean they went to the replay and they re-showed him breaking his arm, which I was like, did we really need to see that again? So maybe they didn't actually notice. I'm sure that the referee noticed. I mean, he got called over. I'm sure that the meds at ringside were able to attend to him. But I do think that it was the original finish. I also think that this was the right finish. It's been a long time coming for Jurassic Express. They've been one of the most popular, if not the most popular, tag teams and stables, including Marco Stunt in AEW for a while. I thought it was nice that I think that was Jungle Boy's mom that was in the crowd that they panned to, and she legitimately burst into tears when when Jungle Boy pinned Penta, and it was seen that they were the champions. It was a nice moment, but unfortunately, I feel like it's going to be a kind of a sour moment because people are going to remember the fact that Ray unfortunately got hurt in this match. I think people are also going to question whether that was the original finish, so it's going to feel kind of different. Either way, I thought the moment was feel good. I thought the crowd was super happy. Jungle Boy especially has a lot of potential. So yeah, I was happy to see that. Cool. Let's see. We can actually go into the next one. MJF.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I am back. My Wi-Fi, like I said, is very iffy, so I'm gonna keep my
Yeah,
camera
so
off just to preserve any sort of
energy.
any bandwidth that I can at least get.
Yeah,
So
guys.
apologies to everybody. I don't know what is going on today.
And apologies for that pause I made. I was going to read the message and then I read it and I was like, oh, I should
Yeah,
keep going. Do you want to go? Do you have any more thoughts about the match or?
no, it was a fun match. I understand why they had Hangman and Bryan go first because they wanted you to think maybe this one's going to go an hour, but I always think you should get the best match last, your championship match last. So I wish this went first, but because they did the title change, I'm more okay with it. I liked how they had all of the tag teams come out. Something I noticed was it really looked like in the crowd when they showed Santana and Ortiz, they looked like they were teared up a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
likely because they knew Phoenix was injured. I think that from once the teams all came out and you saw everybody, you saw Malachi, who's probably bringing in Brody King, you saw Jericho, Santana, Ortiz, all these people. That's what made me realize this is probably what the finish was supposed to be. They probably like might have had to change a thing, like something like minor, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna assume anything until it's confirmed by anybody, but really fun match. So next, we're gonna go reverse through this card because I actually think the beginning is the best part, and it slowly got a little worse as the night went on, in my opinion, until like the main event. Because I'm not a fan of this segment either. Ryan Pillman Jr. taking on Malachi Black. Nothing really special here. It was one of the more basic matches. Pillman's wrestling style is not my thing personally. It's a little too basic, but I love Malachi's style, but still, you know what's going to happen. The most interesting thing about this match was that Julia Hart was on the outside with an eye patch after she got sprayed with the mist about a month ago by Malachi Black. That's what intrigued me more than anything in this segment. You have so Malachi gets the win, and then afterwards, the Lucha Brothers come down to confront Malachi because they have that history with Pac and Malachi. And the lights go out. They basically swap places, and Malachi goes up the ramp with no Brody King still. So, and they put the lights out for the Lucha Brothers too. So I think they were teasing Lucha Brothers versus Malachi and Brody King eventually going to happen, like as probably Brody's first feud. But with Ray Phoenix injured, I don't know what's going to
Yeah,
happen now. That throws things in. But judging based off of just this segment alone, I just pull the trigger. Pull the trigger on Brody King.
I agree. I'm known to disagree about Brian Pillman. I think that he has potential. I thought that the match went very well, but again, AEW is not an audience of one. So whenever I'm like, oh, that was pretty good, when Brian Pillman Jr. does something, everybody's like, no, that was trash. I'm like, oh, okay, it is what it is. So I don't know. He's still young. He's 4 years into the business. He'll get better. He'll progress. It was interesting seeing Julia Hart arg like a pirate with just with just the eye patch on at the side of the ring. Someone on Twitter pointed out that Brian Pillman Jr. actually got more mist on him than she did. But you know, I mean, I guess it affected her more. So it was funny to see. Yeah, with Ray being injured now, I don't know. Maybe Penta continues to feud with them, and he just gets another partner, maybe Pac, and they bring King in. So I don't know. Um, but yeah, I say pull the trigger. Why wait? Especially now. It's not like you're gonna get much out of this feud without bringing him in. So I say in the next week or so, maybe even 2 weeks. I don't know.
All right, Tamara, I'm going to ask a question.
Okay.
Do you want to see more of Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida?
I have an answer for you, and the very unfortunate answer is no. I'll expand on that. I'll expand on that. I want to see more of them separately. I want to see more of Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. Um, The segment, or I guess the promo that Serena Deeb did here, I thought it was okay. The part when she was like, "They call me the professor because I have a PhD in this shit." For some reason, it reminded me of when Triple H was like, "I am the fucking game." Like, I thought that was pretty nice. But the feud itself, don't necessarily don't necessarily care about it. I know the match will be good because Serena Deeb is world class, and so is Sheeta. I want to see more of them individually, but the storyline that they're going through right now, no, I'm not necessarily a fan of it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I was obviously there for that third match, and all their three matches have been pretty good so far. I just, you've had three. You had the rubber match. What's the point in continuing this feud at this point?
I agree. I think maybe they're trying to, especially because this is the beginning of the year. Maybe they want to blow off all the feuds that they have ongoing so that they can go on to new ones. So if this is kind of a bookend, like a closure kind of thing, I that's fair. Especially because you want to have Sheeta on the show. She's not competing for the TBS title or the women's title. And you want her to be able to go in there and have a great match. Of course, she's going to have a great match with somebody like Deeb. So if this is the end of the feud, and they're trying to bookend it, I can see another match. But if they're trying to continue it, it's jump the shark. It's run course.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that when we go down the Rampage card a little bit and what they announced. And my issue with three matches. So, next up, let's talk about the TBS Championship match. Jade Cargill defeating Ruby Soho to become the inaugural TBS champion with a second. It was a second rope jaded onto Soho, and you know, I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
I thought this match was not good. I thought Jade
Oh,
and
really?
Ruby, I thought they had no chemistry. I thought a lot of the things did not click together and come together whatsoever. I thought the finish looked really bad. A lot of things in it just did not look like it
Now
was.
I want to ask you a question because I don't think you're necessarily wrong, but I mean there is a line in the sand. When you say not good, like, do you actually mean like you think the match was just bad, or do you mean not good as in for the spots that you're talking about, it made the match unenjoyable?
I thought the match in itself was just not great.
Okay.
I'm just not like I one. It was the spots, especially that last spot. If you can do a good finish, I'm fine. But throughout the match, just
That's
nothing
true.
hooked me. It was just like I don't. Like, I just didn't care. Nothing that I'm not a big fan of the way Jade sells, which is not really selling in the first place. It just looked like nothing was really
Mhm.
harming her, but she was still falling. A lot of what Ruby was hitting didn't look like it hurt in the first place. A lot of the spots just looked really awkward. Like the fine the no it's the no future. The no future just didn't that looked fine, but it didn't look as good as other no futures have looked. I thought the kick out for that didn't look great either.
Mhm.
Just overall the vibe of the match never really got me into it in the first place. And from there, I'm more critical. If a match cannot hook me in the first like minute or two,
Set and hook.
then I'm more critical.
Yeah.
And I was more critical. Just it didn't do it for me.
You're not wrong. I didn't hate it, but I'd be lying if I said it was good. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I didn't hate it just because I went into it um thinking that it wouldn't really be, cuz Jade is very green. Like Jade is very green. Now, Jade is good, but when I say Jade is good, I mean in terms of the intangibles, like she has a great look, she has charisma, she's clearly driven. When she's on the mic, she's believable. She has a good gimmick going for her. Like Jade is good, but it's like if everything else is the pieces, you need the glue. Wrestling's the glue. Jade is just not that very good in the ring just yet. So I went into it thinking that it was going to be sloppy. And so I kind of enjoyed watching how she would do. So it was fun to watch, like, because this is her first championship match, to see her, be in such a big position and knowing she's going to win. I wanted to see how she was going to carry herself in the ring, how she was going to do in certain spots, how she was going to react when she won. Again, we had another crying family member, her daughter, in the crowd, which is very cute. She burst into tears when her mom won the title. That was a nice moment. So the match was, I guess it was watchable for me, just because I wasn't really watching for the match to be good. I was really watching because I was invested in her potential. So I was watching to see what she improved on, what she did bad, what she did good, how she reacted in different scenarios. Um, so that was fun for me, but I'd be lying if I said the match was good, because it just was not.
Yeah. I mean, congrats to Jade Cargill for getting the win there. Awesome for her. Good. I'm interested to see what she can do, and I hope she improves. And I think she has improved a lot.
Hmm.
But in terms of what I like in wrestling, I've complained about Raquel Gonzalez tons of times, and Jade Cargill is not on the technical level of Raquel Gonzalez. Just not my style of wrestling. So I mean, I would have preferred to see Ruby win and then have just some banger matches with like a Layla Hirsch, Chris Statlander. I mean, before we had the Big Swole debacle, I would have loved to have seen Big Swole on a spot like this. There's a
Yeah,
lot of like Sheeta, Deeb. There's so many good women's wrestlers, and I would have liked to see this become the workhorse belt because Britt does not defend
yeah.
her belt a lot, and that's the issue with Jade. I get why Jade has the belt, but it's not a workhorse belt, and so that makes me think like, okay, I think Rose has taken that belt off of Britt, but that's a discussion for another day.
Jade is also undefeated, so I mean, it would have been her first loss if she didn't win.
Yes, she's 23-0 after
Yeah,
tonight. So what we had before this, there were some promos here and there. Like there was a promo with Adam Cole, and I don't remember if he was with the Bucks or if he was with Cole and O'Reilly, Fish and
he was
O'Reilly.
with he was with Fish and O'Reilly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I zoned out for a second to be honest, but Jake Atlas. I was there for Jake Atlas's debut. Jake Atlas is all elite. Very happy about that. Big fan of Jake Atlas. So we have another Wardlow squash. This is another week of these Wardlow squashes, and I absolutely love them. Hook these to my veins. They are amazing. I love that they call them the Symphony of Power Bombs or the Power Bomb Symphony. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. And we're going to talk more about Wardlow when we get to the MJF CM Punk segment. But great. Keep doing this.
Everything you said. Yep.
Awesome. Now, in between a dog shit sandwich, there's always going to be that little piece of goodness that is the Wardlow squash. And on the other side of the dog shit sandwich is Chris Jericho's promo with 2.0. And my God, I thought this was one of the worst segments I've seen on AEW. You know what? I'm not going to say in a while because I thought last week's segment with Brandy was a little bit worse.
Oh
But
gosh.
this was bad. Like, this was horrible.
Yeah, I'm not big on 2.0. I thought that their matches in the beginning were good, but
I like 2.0. I think Garcia is great. Garcia won the indie wrestler of the year, which was really cool.
Oh,
He had a really awesome breakout year in 2021. Great for him. I really like Daniel Garcia. I like 2.0 as well. I think they're really funny, but this is just not it. I don't like Chris Jericho right now. I saw someone tweet that he has a really big anniversary tomorrow and that they're surprised that he was even there today. I'm going to let you guys piece that information together on what anniversary Chris Jericho will be celebrating tomorrow. And you figured it out.
actually, I didn't.
You didn't think about the 1 year anniversary that Chris Jericho would be celebrating tomorrow. Just, I'll let you think
Oh,
about it.
oh,
Yeah, now
oh.
you got it.
The
Cannot
one,
stand.
it was the
Yeah,
1 year that
yeah,
pieced it
yeah,
together for
yeah.
me.
We're not going to mention it. We're not trying to get taken down off of YouTube, but
Yeah.
I just don't care. I don't care about this version of Jericho. He's not entertaining to me whatsoever. I did not like the stuff he did with Lambert, where he just made homophobic and sexist jokes. I didn't like what he did tonight. I really liked the Terrence and Phillip jokes. If you watch South Park, you'd understand that joke. Love that one. Everything else was like you're just calling him square faced and conehead. Like, that's not a good
Yeah.
diss. He's said this 1,000 times. It's just nothing about this was good. And we're getting another match between LAX and 2.0 and Garcia. I don't care. I don't care. This has been going on since Full Gear, like the week after Full Gear. That's how long this feud has been going on. I don't care. It's been 2 months. I'm done.
I need Inner Circle to break up. I mean, I say it all the time. It's time. Like, can we move on, please? Like, I want to see, you know, LAX be able to do things on their own. I want to see,
He doesn't
Sammy
have
be able to.
he doesn't have
Go ahead.
Sammy. He doesn't have Hager. Santana and Ortiz are with Eddie Kingston now. What's the
Yeah,
point?
but he's still able to like parlay them into matches,
Yeah.
ones that I don't care about. I'm like, can you leave it alone? Yeah, I didn't like the segment either. I tuned out. It was kind of boring. He did mention that we got the first ever TBS chant, not only on Dynamite, but I guess in wrestling ever. That's what he said. And then I did notice that I thought Jericho looked more in shape. He looks like he's been slimming up and bulking up muscle wise. So I guess that's nice for him. But this version of Jericho character wise, I'm not a fan of it either. I'm not gonna say I don't want to see more of Jericho because that's not really true, but yeah, I don't really care about this either. Like, can we? And again, I'm not that big on 2.0, so it's a double whammy. I'm like, can we move on? Daniel Garcia, maybe if he did some single stuff, or if him and the rest of 2.0 feuded with somebody else in a different storyline, I'd like it more.
The other thing that harmed this promo was the placement, which I thought a lot of things in the show were placed really weird. Like the Lucha Brothers coming out to help Pillman and then going back to do their entrance, like almost immediately after. And Jericho followed what we're going to talk about next, which was the MJF and Punk promo, which was fantastic. So why would you want, like, why would you set up two back-to-back promos? I think Pillman and Black would have been better suited to go right here. So that way you
Hmm.
have a promo and then a match, and then you have the squash, and then you have Jade and Ruby. I think that's a little bit of a better order. Then after Jade and Ruby, do the Jericho promo before you go into your main event match. I think that paces the show out better. But instead, you have 1 hour of your show devoted purely to a championship match, which is awesome, and then two promos.
Yeah,
You should
this was
put
a and then the Deep promo. So this was a promo heavy show.
Yeah, there were a lot of promos on the show. I think you probably could have done without the Jericho promo in the first place and give O'Reilly a singles match, give Jake Atlas a match. He has a match on Friday against Cole, cool, but move things around. You give Sammy a match before the Battle of the Belts. Why is he immediately getting a rematch against Cody? He should have a match to prove that he gets that rematch against Cody
Yeah,
because he
they
didn't
don't
have one.
usually do. I mean, Cody didn't do a lot to prove he should get the title shot to begin with. And I
Cody
don't hate.
he had a good
I,
record. He beat
he
Andrade.
did, and I don't hate Cody, but I did
Yeah,
understand that level of it. I mean, he really didn't, but
there's
he
a
did have a good record. And I'd like to see them because they don't usually do the, oh, you get a rematch because you just lost the title kind of thing. They don't really
mhm.
ever do that. Like John Moxley didn't even immediately get a rematch, so I don't know.
Yeah, I understand why they did the Jericho thing. I think it probably could have been shortened and add one more match in here.
Yeah, I agree. And especially they have so much talent. They don't need all of those promos. If with so much talent, they can put some more storylines on the show, some more matches. So yeah, I agree with you.
Hmm. All right, next up we have the two best segments of the night, in my opinion. MJF taking on the Captain Shaun Deen, and I don't know if you paid attention to a little app called Twitter this weekend, but there was a absolute debacle involving one Tony Khan
Yeah.
and another guy named Mr. Captain Shaun Deen. He got a little bit of backlash for what he put out. And I listened to Shaun Deen on Grapsity podcast on Fightful. If you guys are listening, please go listen to Grapsity on Fightful. Such a good podcast where Captain Shaun Deen was on to talk about Tony Khan's tweets. But I'm pretty sure that's why Shaun Deen was on the show. MJF taking on Shaun Deen. CM Punk runs down to the ring immediately. MJF runs away. CM Punk puts Shaun Dean up in the GTS, hits him with it, and Shaun Dean wins via DQ. Therefore, MJF goes 0-1 to start out 2022. And I explained this to my roommate who I was watching with because he was kind of confused. And we both died laughing because that is one of my favorite things I think I've seen AEW do with the record system, like since the inception. This was
Yeah.
amazing, and this is only one half of how great this segment was. But how do you feel about the way they're doing this story with Punk and MJF, to where Punk got him a DQ just to screw
I
the guy
thought
over?
I thought that was genius because as a kid, like I used to think about stuff like that. I'd be like, bro, if I was a wrestler, I would just run in and make you get a DQ so that you lose and I don't have to face you. Or if I could keep my title, I would just disqualify myself, which heels do sometimes. I thought that it was genius. I thought it was clever, and I thought it was funny, especially because in AEW, wins and losses matter. So we know that MJF is not about to be undefeated in 2022 because he's starting the year off with a loss. And remember CM Punk was saying that he's working towards becoming a world champion in AEW and getting a title shot. If MJF has the same aspirations, I mean, it's not going to work for him if CM Punk's always getting him disqualified. So, and I didn't see that swerve coming because when he turned around and he and Shaun Dean he gave him the GTS, I was like, okay, that was kind of heelish of you. And then when it was like disqualified, so he's the winner, I was like, oh, it was like a good gotcha moment. And then obviously the back and forth of the words was nice, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, I'm also just going to say GCW just posted on their Twitter about 30 minutes ago that
Mm-hmm.
the Briscoes have issued an open challenge for the GCW tag team titles for next Saturday's show.
Ooh. And what do you know where that show's taking place? Let's see. Oh, probably at I think at Hammerstein. Oh no, it's at Chicago. It's in Chicago, yeah. So that's where that open challenge is going to take place. Then let me see. The Briscoes have issued an open challenge for the GCW tag titles. Plus, Allie versus Kylie AJ versus PCO Gresham versus Scorpio Bandito versus Blake Jeff Jarrett returns plus more ticks. Nice.
I'm back.
Hola.
Okay. What while I was gone?
I just looked up where the GCW show is going to take place, and it'll take place in Chicago.
Chicago, yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, they could be there. It's possible. FTR.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like,
Yep. All right. Well, let's talk about this battle of promos. Pretty good. I didn't write anything down because I was very enamored by what was going on. It just absolutely sucked me in. But like it was fantastic. These two guys know how to go at each other on the mic. CM Punk making a reference, MJF saying the battle of 2024 when his contract is up. And so he said, I'm going to main event WrestleMania, something you never did.
yeah,
CM Punk responding by saying, uh, you're never going to main event WrestleMania, and then you'll be released as about as
as
quick
fast
as
as
you
you
last in the
finish.
sack, as fast as you finish in the sack. No, as fast as you last in the sack.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
sick. I mean, it's true. And then he's like,
that
"You'll be main eventing," like, and then he made fun of like the day one like title. Oh, it's not a pay per view; it's a live event premiere thing. Like,
it's
what
a
are you talking
premier
about?
live event.
Like, what the hell does that even mean?
It's a premier live event. Oh, fantastic!
It's like, yeah, bro, you
Words
can go over to that side if you want to.
words cannot do justice how great this promo was.
And MGF is a gem. MGF hates New Jersey. Earlier, he was tweeting when he arrived to Jersey a
He
bunch of
should.
gifs of people throwing up because he said
I
that's
hate
how
New
he
Jersey. New
feels.
Jersey. New Jersey is disgusting.
I hate Jersey too. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't we all hate New Jersey?
Yeah, well, unless you're from Jersey, and then
Well, if you're from Jersey, then you just hate yourself. Why would you be from Jersey?
How dare you be born in Jersey? Yeah.
How dare
Uh,
you? All
that
right,
that
well,
that's
let's talk
go ahead.
about Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson. The opening match was the rematch. We had 3 judges ringside: Jerry Lynn, Paul White, and the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. This was I thought this was like it had some parallels to that first match, but thought this was a lot better than the first one. I
Hmm.
like the quicker pace of it. I like how brutal it was. The first one was really brutal too, but this one felt like a whole nother level of like these guys are gonna kill each other for this belt because they need it. They have to throw everything at each other because of the judge's decision. Because that's
Yeah.
how it ends. It's the same way in boxing, in UFC, MMA. You have to throw everything you can at your opponent. You cannot waste any bit of time in the ring because you have a time limit. And at the end, if you go to the tie, you have the judge. So you have to throw everything as much as you can. So
Yeah.
I wrote down a lot of notes on this because I think it's important. So yeah, there were more spots. It was faster paced. So Bryan first starts going after that right arm after the tope suicida. He throws it into the barricade on that tope. And so he starts working that right arm. Hangman is trying to go for a faster pace continuously throughout the first 5 to 10 minutes of the match. Bryan's trying to slow it down, work on that right arm a little bit. Then Hangman gets thrown into the steps and cuts his head open. The exact same spot I'm pretty sure that he cut his head open during that first match 3 weeks ago at Winter is Coming. After that happens, Bryan moves and starts going after the head. Bryan gets cut open as well. Then these guys just go absolutely like balls to the wall, headbutt, headshot, one after another. You got Hangman mocking Danielson's jumping jacks from the first match and doing the burpees in the ring. Same thing he did in that first match. You have the top rope fallaway slam. Amazing. There was a dead eye on the outside that got caught really badly by the camera and it didn't look great, but
Yeah, I remember
you know
that.
what? I can look over it. An amazing psycho knee counter. Hangman goes for that buckshot. Danielson counters it into that psycho knee. Amazing. Got the headbutts going into a gotch pile driver with barely a kick out at 2. And the buckshot lariat is hit on Danielson for the win. It
Yep.
was about 28 minutes and 54 seconds, somewhere around there. I thought this was a really good way to set the pace for 2022 in AEW.
Yeah. Yeah. And Hangman getting a clean win over Brian Danielson. I think this is his first like real loss. I thought that
Yes,
should have been the
Danielson's first loss in AEW.
100%. And I agree with that one. Hangman, this is his first title reign. This is kind of his first introduction to the big time. You have to prove that this guy's here to stay. He's not a flash in the pan. And then he's the real deal. You put him over Brian Danielson. It's a bold move, but I liked it. And I know that John Moxley was supposed to be in this spot. But I think it kind of works out a little bit better because Brian Danielson, for him to pass the torch the way he has to Hangman Page, it's instrumental. I really love it, and we all love Hangman. The match was great, all types of color, blood everywhere, just red, painting the town red. Like you said, it was vicious. When you're fighting and there's judges at the end, you do kind of have to leave it all in the ring because if you don't and it goes to a draw, the guy who put in more work, put in more effort, the guy who really wanted it more is gonna get it. The judge is gonna see that and they're gonna give it to them. So I like that. I thought that maybe they might do go to the judges and then give it to Hangman and then that'll be Brian's first loss. It was like a technicality, but I'm glad they didn't do that. I think the first match they did, I wanted to see Hangman get the win clean. I don't hate that they did a draw the first time. I'm really glad that they came back the second time and they gave us a finish. Otherwise, I would have felt like it was a bit redundant. Yeah, I was really happy with this match. I mean, what's not to like? I don't know.
So I have some disappointing news. First, Ray Phoenix, according to Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer Newsletter, Ray Phoenix has been sent to the hospital. Additionally, Jake Atlas has suffered a knee injury in his match with Adam Cole,
Hmm.
which sucks.
Yeah, and he just signed. That's a shame. Prayers up to both of them.
Yes, I am. I'm looking on more. Yeah, it says he was helped to the back, so it might not be like horrible, but yeah, from what I'm seeing, yeah, Jake Atlas was injured. Yeah, could not put any weight on his leg leaving the ring. That man, that sucks.
That's a blow, yeah. You never want to see anybody get hurt. So it's
No,
a shame, especially like on TV like that.
very man, that really sucks.
I know.
Better news though is it looks like John Moxley is about to return.
I saw that too, yeah.
Yes, he's set
The wild
for.
thing that makes our hearts sing.
Yep, they have not announced the official match yet, but it's looking like at the Hammerstein Ballroom show on January 23rd for GCW, it's going to be Homicide taking on Moxley for the GCW Championship. So I'm pretty excited for that. And I mean, GCW, man, like the Briscoes, if they get FTR in there to do that match with the Briscoes, Moxley's coming back. Jeff Jarrett just made his debut taking out Effie.
Yeah. GCW's doing it big, and they sold out Hammerstein. I don't
Yep.
know. I don't know what to tell you.
I
It's
wanted to go to I wanted to go to that show so badly. I was trying. I was
man,
trying.
I didn't. It got sold out. I didn't get a chance to buy any kind of tickets.
It was like
But
200
let
bucks.
let some people tell it. AW killed the Indies though, so I guess none of this is
Yep.
happening, and we're
Oh
in a
yeah,
simulation.
hey, AEW killed the indies. Indies cannot sell out shows. It's impossible. There's no indie wrestling ever.
No,
You know, just it's not working. I'm totally not working an independent wrestling show this Saturday.
I totally didn't go to House of Glory like 2 months ago.
I totally didn't almost go to House of Glory and then decided to go to Double or Nothing.
Instead, well, you know what? Can't blame you for that.
So there's some other things I want to talk about. Let's talk about the next cut of WWE releases real quickly. There's a few things in the news I want to talk about. First, talk about these WWE releases. Have you seen these?
I've seen them, yeah.
Yes, we have Road Dogg, William Regal, Timothy Thatcher, Hideki Suzuki. I hope I said the first name right. Danny Burch, as well as a lot of like writers, trainers backstage from OG NXT. So you have Catherine Carino, aka Allison Danger, has been let go. George Carroll. You have Scott Armstrong, who was there for like forever. Dave
Yeah,
Kapoor was let go. Ryan Katz, Ace Steel, a
William
lot.
Regal.
Yes, it's a lot of William Regal, a lot of performance center people that were behind OG NXT. And if you saw Braun Breaker busting through the Black and Gold X last night at New Year's Evil, you know that this is it. Black and Gold's over. Black and
Yeah.
Gold's done.
NXT 1.0 as we know it is dead. 2.0 is in full effect, and they did the title change. Ciampa's not the champion anymore. It's Braun
Mm-hmm.
Breaker. So that's the end of an era. I
That
wouldn't
is,
be
I will
surprised
say that
if
that's a good title change. Though that was Braun Breaker is the guy. He's the guy.
yeah, but I just mean it symbolizes like the end of an era because Ciampa is kind of a relic of the black and gold. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think he represents that NXT. I honestly, do you see him sticking around much now?
I don't think he'd ever go to the main roster.
Yeah, didn't he deny like fight the call up like multiple times?
Yeah, he never will. I think he's happy being in NXT, maybe being a trainer. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna. It's his decision, so I'm not gonna like assume what he would believe. But
yeah.
everybody reports that he did like 2 years ago when he was offered the call up, he said no.
Well, he whatever he does, he'll be good at it. Ciampa's talented. The William Regal release is egregious. The fuck? Like you William Regal's a genius, a wrestling genius. He knows everything about wrestling. And he is largely a part of why the old NXT was as great as it was. Whatever plan you have, William Regal can't help you with that, then your plan's not good. Like whatever 2.0 is, we don't need it. Tony Khan, you know what to do. Bring in William Regal. And I don't always say that, but come on. Not even for TV. William Regal's just a great wrestling mind. Like bring him into the backstage.
Speaking of Tony Khan, let's talk about those tweets.
Oh boy.
We all know what he said. Tamara,
Yes.
it's not my place to speak on this. So I'm gonna hand this over to you. Take the
Yeah.
reins.
I gotta say, and I like Tony Khan. I do know what Big Swole said. She said that she felt like AEW had issues with diversity. She had issues with the structure of the show. She felt like things weren't as organized as she wanted it to be. She's like, it's okay to be loose, but she would have liked a little bit more structure. And then Tony Khan, he responds to that. He says, well, actually, we are diverse because this, and this, and you suck. That's why I fired you. Anyways, watch Rampage tonight. I hated that. I hated that
Hold the
response from
Chris
Tony Khan.
card.
I hated it. Well, one, I don't have issues with AEW on a diversity front. That's just me. I have an issue with Tony Khan's response because one, Big Swole is entitled to her opinion, and as a black woman, she's entitled to speak that. She actually worked at AEW, and AEW wrestlers. If you're a wrestler of color, if you're a black wrestler, I want to know those kinds of things because it will affect the way I view the company, and also I'm interested to know like issues like that. How diverse is it? Do you feel comfortable, presenting ideas? How do you feel backstage? It's a mostly white locker room. How do you feel? Things like that. I want to know that. So when Big Swole shares her experience, I want to hear that. It's not Tony Khan's place to essentially try to belittle her experience. Her experience and what she's saying by deflecting to things about, oh, you're not a good wrestler. That has nothing to do with anything she's saying. It legitimately does not. That was him being salty. You know how people say Tony Khan gets defensive and he needs to get off Twitter? That was him being salty and defensive, and he needed to get off Twitter. That was a situation he really did. Like what was that? And I wrote in a Facebook post. I'm like, I agree because Leo Rush tweeted at him and he tweeted at the official AEW account. Apologize because he does need to apologize to Big Swole because he essentially that was disrespect. She and if you watch the whole podcast, which I did, she shared a lot of great memories that she had in AEW. She was very positive about the company. She was just explaining why one she didn't want to resign, and two the things she said in her exit interview. It's not like they didn't know she felt this way because she said during her exit interview that she told them, "I felt like these are my main issues: diversity and the structure. It's a little unorganized, that kind of stuff." So yeah, she said what she had to say. It was her opinion. She did not disrespect him. She did not do it in a way that was toxic. She was very articulate and she explained herself and she had good points. And for Tony Khan to respond and essentially dismiss her, really didn't like that. So yeah, Tony Khan's response was trash. I know a lot of wrestlers in AEW spoke up to defend him. One in particular, Will Hobbs. He put out multiple statements. I feel like pretty much saying, AEW's there during issues with my family. Ever since I've been there, they've been supportive. They've helped me. They've put me in positions that I got to wrestle CM Punk. That's like a dream of mine. Like and I've never and the company is diverse and he listed ways that he feels like AEW does good in the diversity space and they make strides and they try. That's his experience. I want to hear that as well. If you're a wrestler of color in AEW and you have your own experience, it's your right to speak on that. That's what you're supposed to do. So I appreciated his perspective. I appreciated Swole's perspective. I appreciated Leo Rush's perspective. There were all kinds of people speaking out about this. The only perspective I did not appreciate was Tony Khan's. Not because he's not allowed to have one, but the way he went about it was very defensive and toxic. I wasn't a fan. So Tony Khan, it was a sad tweet for me. It was a sad tweet.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. I 100% agree with. I'm gonna end by talking about something. I've seen a lot of I've seen people, not a lot of people, but I've seen people on Twitter after the Phoenix injury complaining about Phoenix, saying that he's not safe, he's not a good wrestler, there's no ring psychology. First off, there is a lot of ring psychology for Phoenix. He is fantastic and a great
Who
wrestler.
the fuck said that?
I'll tell you off air, but
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people criticizing Ray Phoenix and saying that this is what happens when you wrestle like that. You get injured. First off, it's not the place. It's not the time. It's not the place. When someone gets injured like this, that's not the time to go on a rant about how you do not like their wrestling style. I would also like to point out that wrestling is subjective. Whether somebody is good in wrestling is completely up to somebody's personal opinion. I am not a big fan of Raquel Gonzalez. A lot of people think she is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It is all your personal opinion on what you like in wrestling. Everything is personal opinion. Nothing in wrestling is objective. I would like to make that clear as well. The other thing is, go watch the spot. There was nothing in that spot that Ray Phoenix did that's different than anybody else. He just landed badly. Shit happens. There was nothing crazy about it. It was just a choke slam through a table. It was not that
Wrestling's
insane.
dangerous. Like,
this happens. Yes.
Yeah.
It
was
had
nothing to do, and that's the saddest part about that take. That actually had nothing to do with his wrestling style.
Yes.
He wasn't even doing a move. He was taking a bump.
It was, it's not like he did a Phoenix splash through the top, like from the top rope through a table on the hard concrete off the top of a ladder onto a crash pad 50 feet down below from the middle of Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. No, he was not doing some crazy spot. It was just a choke slam bump. Shit happens. That's wrestling. That does not mean you are a good wrestler or a bad wrestler. That does not mean you are injury prone or not injury prone. It just happens. Things happen in this business. Spots go wrong. Phoenix has done a lot of crazy things that he's gotten injured from. That's true. You go look at what he did right before the Casino Battle Royale ladder, or the Casino ladder match at Double or Nothing 2020, when he did that crazy move and landed on the back of his neck. That's an instance of maybe something you probably should not do, but this was not one of those situations. Also, just because somebody does crazy moves that he gets hurt every once in a while, you cannot immediately say they're not a good wrestler.
Yeah,
is
I was
Bryan
gonna say,
Danielson
even
not
if
a good
it was
wrestler?
one of the situations, like, you don't say that.
Is Jeff Hardy not a good wrestler? Is Matt Hardy not a good wrestler? Is
Well,
Edge
a lot
not
of
a good
people will
wrestler?
tell you Jeff Hardy's not a good wrestler, but I mean,
All right.
it's like you said, it's subjective. It's wrestling styles.
Is Bryan Danielson not a good wrestler because he had a lot of injuries?
If
is
you say
Paige
Bryan
not a good
Danielson's
wrestler?
not a good wrestler, you're just dumb.
Yeah, is Paige not a good wrestler? Is Sasha Banks not a good wrestler?
Edge.
All these people who, yes, Edge. Yeah, that's one of the guys I think I said. Christian. Is Christian just objectively not a good wrestler? Yeah. Kenny Omega's been injured a lot. You cannot say that because to go to something very recent, Katsuyori Shibata. Is Shibata not a good wrestler? I'm pretty sure he is.
Triple H not a good wrestler because he tore his quad.
John Cena's had a lot of injuries.
Ember Moon, I think, tore her ACL just running. Like,
Tegan Knox tore both of her ACLs.
When your body's being run down, because every time you hit the mat, it's like a car crash. Like, what are you guys expecting?
I'm sorry. It's a dumbass take. It's a shit take. Don't make that take. Not the time, not the place. Guy. It doesn't make sense. It's a shit take. I'm sorry. The person who made that is very possibly listening right now. It's a shit take.
Hi.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this review of AEW Dynamite. Now that we're both on a solid schedule, the holidays are done, we're going to try to be doing this every single Wednesday, as well as doing the 10 Count podcast. I will be having some guests on every once in a while to get some interviews down. It'll be myself and Tamara talking about the news, some things that we talked about on this episode, like the Tony Khan tweet, and some injuries, debuts, things like that. That is more, or the releases, that's more likely to be covered over there. We just haven't been able to get one done this week, so we did it here. But if you want to listen to that, our Spotify link is in the description of this video. Go over there, click on it, follow it, give us a review. I'm new to the podcast world. I'm going to be uploading on podcasts. So just do whatever you can to support us. It would be greatly appreciated. Leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe. Share it with your friends. It helps with that YouTube algorithm, and it means a lot. So from myself and Tamara, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see y'all next time when my Wi-Fi works.
Sayonara.